a lot of these eye-opening moments were after I became a mother, because you can't escape that. Once you start to recognize it in your child or your children, you're like, okay, where does this come from? And I can't teach her something that I'm not living myself. And so there's that reflection, right? Where, children can be our greatest teachers if we allow them to. And so, I remember in this session, it was very emotional for you because it brought up your mother, your father, and there was some integration and continuous processing that happened after for you. I checked in with you later and you said, I had a really big cry, although you were already doing that in the session, but it continued on afterwards. And 90 minutes went by pretty quickly. It felt like 45 minutes for us. Can you talk a little bit about what that process was like for you? And it's so interesting because, again, everyone has their own experiences and their own traumas. And so, no doubt, your father had his own upbringing and childhood and whatever happened to him and his experiences. Same with your mother. And then they come together and how it passes on, even though it's not the intention and maybe not the words they spoke. But if it's not clear, the intention, and they're not whole in themselves and their journey, it passes on. And that's what I was talking about with my daughter. I started to notice things about her that I was like, where did this come from? And I was like, I tried my best to not give it to you. I grew up in fear, so I'm trying not to create fear, but somehow patterns die hard. And this is not just my pattern. This is pattern that I've inherited through my lineage. And if we keep going through the layers of the onion, we get to ancestral trauma. And when we tap into that and we're looking at that, we're actually able to really uncover and excavate a really deep level of experiences that might not be from our childhood. But we know and recognize that we are continuing to pass that on. But then recognize the power we have to do the work now, that it can stop here. If we have the courage to open it up, and as hurtful as it is, if we have the right support to navigate that, to move through it with clarity and intention, to give it the space to heal, the proper space to heal, to repair the traumas. Because, Andrew, my husband, he had years of addiction, drinking, drugs to avoid, to numb the trauma, to not feel it. And it's not giving it the time and space to heal. And so he's just starting on that for himself now. I mean, working at it for over the years that we've been together, but it takes a lot of effort and courage. As you said, it's hurtful. And who wants to move towards the fire? Right? But if you have the right intention to say, I want to look at this now. I have the ability to face what I was not able to face because it was too painful. It was too hurtful. It was too terrifying. I was too scared. I didn't have the right support. But if we can find that path for ourselves to really uncover the pieces of our lives that created these parts where the ego had to jump in to put us into survival mode to survive. For me, I don't know how I could have survived without that. I would have just, been a terrified little child in a corner and not even been able to get out of bed. But I had to move on. I had to carry on in life and find my way without this proper support. And so when we have that and we have that village around us, then we can really look at these things. And it's not just for us, it's for our children. We pass it on to our children. And that's something that's been coming up for you, recognizing things in Ryan that you're seeing that reminds you of your own traumas growing up and going, I was like this. I know this. This was me. But then how do you help him? You give him all the support, right? All the extra things that he might need. But then where Yeah. But then where's the origin?